Today on Drawbli, Abby is drawing.
Her second attempts at Allo Prima.
Click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
And share your second attempts at Alla Prima online with the hashtag Drawbli.
So, this is my documenting the process. This is me saying, yeah, not everything we do is a slam dunk. Not that it ever has been, but just to prove it.
Every once in a while, we dunk it on accident.
Yeah. So to
and
prove,
we're just as surprised as everybody else.
Oh my gosh, Ben. So to prove that we are documenting the process.
And this one time.
Oh my god. Here are several attempts at Alla Prima. No pressure though, because you have to do maybe like 40 of these to get anywhere halfway decent.
Probably more.
So
probably a lot more.
My next 3. So
racking them up.
Yeah. So this is just part of the process of what's the line from Adventure Time. The first step of
being kind of good at I don't know. It's Jake the dog. It's something along the lines of the first step of being good at something is sucking at something.
Yeah. So yeah, come along on this ride with me of hoping it'll turn out great.
Oh, I see what you did there.
And, I forgot.
Come along with me. Nice.
Of hoping these will turn out okay and, not loving the result, but you're not going to love everything you create, and that's just how it goes.
So, one question I have for you is why did you wait so long to throw hair on that head of yours? Upon that egg?
I don't have an answer to that. It's just the way I went. It was one of the shapes that I planned to put in, and I got to it in good time. And that's the end of that story.
Okay, I was just curious.
No,
I didn't know if you had a reasoning or...
Not any reason. It was just part of the workflow, I suppose.
So give me some spoilers. How many portraits am I gonna see here?
You're gonna see 3, and here's the thing about the next 2.
Tell me the thing about them.
They're both portraits that I've attempted to make before.
What? Really?
Yes, from the Ahmed Al-Duri course.
Oh, interesting.
When I first attempted them, I was similarly not doing amazing at them, and we were trying to learn about core shadows, and I just was like, oh my gosh, for whatever reason I cannot get a grasp on these portraits. So I said to myself, well, it's a new day and a new style. Let me try applying that style to these portraits again, see what I can do. Is it different? Is it better?
Is it worse?
Yeah, it's not great, but no pressure, right? Because I'm still very new to the Alla Prima style, so nothing I do has to be great. It just has to be.
Look, we could be painting for 10 years here on Drawbli and still making bad stuff, Abby, and I would tell you there's no pressure. But by the way, I do really like this. I think that you have done better, but I do really enjoy the colors that you had, especially in the hair.
Thank you.
And I really like the colors on this one, and I know that you said you didn't like how this one turned out either. And I remember the colors being very striking and very beautiful in this one.
The colors are striking. The form and execution of form is definitely lacking. Now in hindsight, what I'm thinking is I'm using a brush a little too textured to be careful with, I guess.
Okay.
Everything was a little too sloppy because I was just working with sloppier tools. That didn't allow me to be a little more careful. I was very zoomed out, honestly, the whole time I was working on this too, at least relatively. And that didn't super help either. It was almost like working on a tiny thumbnail sketch in a way. So yeah,
normally zooming out in the early stages is very helpful.
Yeah, and I think with time and practice, it will continue to be helpful. But
I think that brush was your downfall early on, at least there.
Yeah. I think in more expert hands, it might have gone okay, but I think my takeaway there is don't do whatever I did here. There's a lot, though, of hue shifts and changes at every moment in this portrait. It's a very deceptively complex reference. And maybe that's where I'm struggling here, where there's constantly hue shifts and light shifts and things I'm trying to get in there and also communicate form and value. So
there's a lot going on. I mean, it's a face. Faces are extremely hard and extremely complex. It's a face in perspective, slight perspective, with that little tilt to the of the head. I mean, faces are hard. There's no way around it.
So I abandoned this one kind of early on and didn't feel too bad about that though, because it just quickly got to a point where I wasn't really feeling like I was improving much.
And this is your second attempt on this face.
Yeah.
I don't remember you painting this one in the past.
No?
I remember this image. Maybe
I did it as a value study. I think the first time I did it, it was just black and white.
Okay, that might be why. Because I feel like I would remember this very bright yellow background.
Oh, gotcha. I may have even made my reference.
You know
black
what?
and
No,
white.
I do remember the value study, now that you say that. Yeah, I don't remember the bright yellow, though. So that makes sense as to why.
Yeah. But hey, that's part of this process is we're just not, not just putting out the good stuff, the slam dunks. And I feel like we actually say this fairly often, that we're really showing you everything of how it looks to tackle some sort of art.
And there's a lot to tackle. I mean, it takes a long time to get good at drawing. It takes a long time to get good at any artistic medium. And one of the things we say in all our videos is, hey, comment below if you have any ideas for how we improve. And I feel like for some people it might get frustrating where they're like commenting the same thing multiple times, like, why aren't you getting this? And it's like, we will get it, but it's going to be a minute. And by a minute, I mean many months.
Yes.
Like, just because you understand a concept, and I think I'm a very good example of this. I am a professional digital sculptor. I have been for a number of years. I operate at a very high level. Yet I am terrible at 2D art. I've become a lot better over the past year plus, but I am still nowhere near as competent, even though I understand so many different concepts in terms of working with art. Like I understand, all these different ideas that I can translate with my 3D tool set, but using the tool set of two-dimensional tools is just so different to that.
It really is. And that was my big learning curve too, going digital versus physical media. Not that you were a professional
doodler or anything.
Not that I was a professional in any sense of the word. But just taking on this whole new medium, it's been very, very fun and challenging to learn the ins and outs of it and try to get a little better. But I'm glad we're doing it. They say the years are going to go by either way. At the end of X amount of years, might as well be kind of good at something new rather than nowhere with anything new.
Yeah, I like the way you did those fingernails, by the way. That first blotch and then another blotch on top to give it like the cuticle edge around the outside. It's a very clever way to go about that.
Thank you. I was a little burnt out on working on faces at this point in the day, so I told myself I was going to let myself try to block in the hand.
That you painted all of these in one day, I think? Is that correct?
I think I did, yeah.
Well, if you didn't, I couldn't remember.
No,
you told me that before we started recording, and I was like, what, really? I don't remember if you said it here. But either way, you did all of these in one day? That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah, I know. That's how I operate, though. I'm much more likely to go a few days where I maybe draw for just like a couple minutes in a day, and then have days where I have a lot more patience and time and energy to sit down and draw happily for hours.
Versus 10 hours later.
Yeah, versus like a consistent, dependable 30 minutes per day. It's more like hours and hours some days.
Yeah, you have to find what works for your schedule. So, this is your second alla prima attempt. What's the big takeaway here from the last one to this one?
Just being patient with myself on the journey, knowing that I can't really expect to have mastered anything at this point, but I need to put in the time and put in the hours and put in the tries to start to get somewhere. And to have some, belief that this will pay off. And even if, I'm not super stoked about my results now, I do, absolutely. Even if I'm not super stoked with my results yet, this is just part of what it takes to get to a point where you're happy with your results. So,
I think one thing that will help both of us a lot with that is finding those references that we really enjoy and that we are really passionate about trying to paint.
That
trying to
goes a
work
long
on.
way too. I mean, I really like this reference. I would love to be able to do it justice. And it's not that I didn't enjoy working on it, but just, I didn't have quite the skill to perfectly execute it. And I can see that. And when you can see how far you are from being able to do what it is you want to do, that can be a little, it can be a little discouraging. So just taking the time to remind yourself that it's just a journey and it's not going to look perfect the first bunches of attempts.
I feel like I might be slightly insane because at least one thing that I learned from digital sculpting is that I really just don't care necessarily, or in the early stages I didn't care about my final result, and even to this day I don't really care about my final result as much as the process of creating that thing and learning from creating that thing. I think that's the journey is the reward. I think that's a really fun part for me, at least, and unfortunately, that doesn't translate very well to a YouTube channel where I have to upload videos of quality characters that other people can look at for 3 seconds and say, thumbs up, very nice, I like. I can't really translate that idea quickly. But hey, that actually looks fantastic.
Thank you.
It definitely has that rough alla prima feel.
Yes. I think I probably could have worked on it longer, but it was time to move on.
I really like the aesthetic overall. It looks really cool.
Thanks. And if you like your aesthetic, share your artwork online using the hashtag Drawbli.
And if you have a cool idea, maybe comment it down in the comment section below.
And hit that subscribe button for more cool ideas. And this is the part where we say goodbye.
Goomba. Wait, did we say subscribe twice?
Nope.
We didn't? Should we say it a 4th time?
Subscribe.
Click that subscribe button, guys.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Subby.
Scrubby.
I call you my spuzband when you buy me Subway.
That's a secret. Nobody else is allowed to know that.
They know it now.
Oh no.
Huh?